What's up, everybody? King Triple C here, the Olympic champion, flyweight champion, the bantamweight champion of the world. And I got a public service announcement to all you wannabe MMA casuals or MMA fans for that reason. You guys make sure to listen to my boy's Story of the Fight with Will and Miro. You know why? Because Triple C said so. And if you don't, you can do me a favor and you can bend the knee to King Triple C too.
All right. So, sir, we didn't go 100% on our picks.
Nah. Did pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But not 100%.
Mm-hmm. Not 100%.
And that's what we always strive for.
Yeah. I strive to predict the fights that don't even happen. I strive to be above 100%.
Do you have a moment of silence for us this week?
I do, because there were more canceled fights on this card than there were fights on this card. There was 11 fights that were supposed to happen that got canceled. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson was supposed to be the main event. Gone. Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns was supposed to be on this. Kamaru had to pull out. Esparza versus Amanda Ribas was supposed to be on this. That fizzled.
Manda Ribas.
Yeah, Ribas. Marvin Vettori versus Omari Akhmedov was supposed to be on this. Akhmedov
I don't mind this
withdrew.
one. I don't mind losing this one because
I know
we got to start Vettori.
We got a great, yeah. Dwight Grant versus Li Jinglang was supposed to be on this. Grant tested positive for COVID. Jacare versus Vettori was also supposed to be on this. Then that whole thing happened.
I think Jacare regrets that not happening too.
Yeah. Vettori doesn't. And then probably the worst one, Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling was supposed to be the main event.
That one
Petr
hurts.
Yan withdrew. Tecia Torres was supposed to fight Angela Hill. Angela Hill tested positive for COVID. Carl Roberson was supposed to be fighting Dalcha Longibula. Never seen that name before. But Robertson tested positive. Andrea Lee was supposed to fight Jillian Robertson, and Andrea Lee broke her nose. And that's pretty much it. But a lot of canceled fights.
That's it?
A lot of canceled fights.
That's pretty much it.
Surprisingly, in a card with more cancellations than fights, we finally got to see Ciryl Gane fight.
Yeah, after 5 canceled bouts or something crazy.
I think it was 3 in a row. 6 total in his career. But yeah.
Man, and it's crazy because for me, when I think about this card, I feel like everything worked out.
It was so
I mean,
good.
not for some of the fighters that were in there, but as a fan, I'm so thankful for this card and the way that everything worked out, because it was such a fun card from top to bottom.
Yeah. Ooh.
Jinx. Dude. Okay, so we can get going into it right away because we have a lot of fights to talk about.
We have 10 fights to cover.
Right. So Tecia Torres, her fight.
Wait. What about your boy Chase Hooper?
Oh, can't forget about Chase Hooper.
Come on, dude. The MMA
Come
Factory.
on, dude.
It's Chase Hooper. You know, Ben Askren's son.
Ben Askren's son, yeah.
Dude, this was... Man, Chase Hooper... This is the type of stuff that really makes me wish that the UFC had a minor league system. Because I think Chase Hooper just... Joe asked him in the post-fight interview, he's like, what is it like to be so young and so fresh in the sport and be fighting the best competition in the world in the UFC? And he was like, honestly, he's like, it's a lot of learning on the fly. And it was cool to see him just be open about that, especially after a fight. It's to be that cognitive and answer that question in a thorough way. So it was it's a lot of learning on the fly. He's like, I know that is what he just turned 21 in September. He's like, I know I'm not even physically in my prime yet. He's like, my body's still like developing. He's like, I still got like 7-8 years until I'm physically in my prime. So he's like, I've been training just as long as most of these people. It's just my body's not fully developed yet. So he's like, I have to learn to overcome that. You know what I mean? He's fighting grown men.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane. And dude, it's the story for him. The story of every fight for him is, has he improved in his takedowns and his ability to get the fight where he needs it to be? Because his striking is decent, but defensively he's not very sound. I think he has a hard time kind of like physically standing his ground. Like people hit him and he gets knocked over, and he's just kind of just there to get, like a breeze would knock him over. You know what I mean? And his when he shoots, he doesn't really have that. His timing is decent on takedowns. It's getting better too. But he just doesn't have that like driving force behind it. It's almost like, I was noticing it in this one. His takedowns looked better in this, but he still really didn't do a great job with like traditional like double legs or single legs and stuff like that. And I think it's because he drops and then goes. Like it's a two-step. It's like, let me drop and now I'm going to go forward, instead of just level changing, you know? Where like someone like GSP is just all of a sudden he's spearing into you. He just doesn't have that yet, and he'll get it. And he's aware of it. He talked about it in the post-fight interview. He knows that that's what he needs to work on the most. And it looked like more of the same, where a crafty guy in Peter Barrett just wasn't going to let him take him down, but defending a takedown. He pieced up that leg. Those leg kicks were brutal. He could barely even stand on that leg. He had to switch stances, and then you could really see that some people seamlessly change stances, and you don't even notice that the game is different.
Yeah.
Not Chase Hooper. He looked all right. You could tell that he started using his jab a lot more, because I think his dominant hand was now up front, and he was just jabbing a lot more, which was all right. A lot of lead leg kicks when he switched stances, and then he started doing that Imanari roll, and it was working, and man, the finish was fucking awesome in a fight that I had him losing. You could argue he took one of the rounds, but I doubt it. I had him losing that fight. What did you think?
He reminds me very much, as a fan, of like a Sage Northcutt, where they come in really early in age.
Yeah.
They seem like they have a good head on their shoulders, and you kind of just root for them, you know, because they're so young, and you want to see kind of like these young guys and be able to say, I saw them since the beginning of their career, grow within the UFC, you know, dude. Yeah, I agree with you. He still has a lot to learn. Still has a lot to learn. And, I mean, if the UFC continues throwing, I mean, no insult to Barrett, but like opponents like a Barrett, where Chase Hooper can continue learning and developing as he's going up in his UFC career.
Yeah, they fucked up giving him
it'll
Bruce
be good
Leroy.
for him.
They shouldn't have given him Bruce Leroy that quick.
No.
But he proved it again, that once he solves that piece of the puzzle of being effective with takedowns, dude, he's going to be really dangerous, because every time he's on the ground, you're in danger. He got that Imanari roll. He even talked about how he was training with Ryan Hall to like perfect that Imanari roll. It's like, if you're gonna learn how to do it, you learn from Ryan Hall if you can. And I think Barrett got comfortable in that position, because he wasn't fully down in on the thigh, right? He was a little bit more on the knee with his hips, and they just were sitting there for a bit. And then Hooper's hitting him and forcing Barrett to he was like headbutting all the punches, and but he was forcing him to think about the hands in that position, and slowly, inch by inch, Hooper was sitting into that more. And eventually, once he was deep enough on it, then you could see the panic in Barrett, realizing, oh shit, I just let him sneak his way up, and it was like instant. Once he really went for it, it was over. And man, a great come from behind victory, and yeah, just another notch in his game developing.
At 21, dude's 10-1.
Yeah,
at the ripe age of 21. Fighting. That's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. All right. Next one, Tecia Torres versus Sam Hughes.
Yeah. Respect to Sam Hughes. Taking this on, a week's notice for her UFC debut against a very, very competitive fighter in Tecia Torres. Super well-rounded.
Very.
That's a tough debut.
She looks strong.
Yeah.
And, dude, all her strikes were coming in combinations, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
Overwhelming for Hughes in some cases. And you know how they were talking about how she was like, yeah, my eye got poked. I'm pretty sure it was that Superman punch.
I think it was. Yeah, I never saw
landed right in that orbital.
Yeah, I never saw
Neither did I.
poke. She also never complained about
really good.
Yeah, she looked great. She did what she had to do in a matchup like this, you know. And it bums me out because, man, if this Tecia Torres came out and fought Angela Hill, it would have been so sick. That would have been such a cool fight. But
really fun fight.
Would have been crazy. But yeah, she was just putting it all together. You notice when people get into that flow state where they just can't do anything wrong and everything they're doing is working on them. Dude, there was a point where Sam Hughes initiated the clinch and tried to clinch her up against the cage, and Tecia just used the momentum and just tossed her into the cage. And as she was getting up, she stumbled when she hit the cage, and as she was getting up, she landed a clean right hand, and I was like, oh shit. Normally that happens a lot, right? Someone throws someone in the cage, it flexes, they come back, and then they try to land a haymaker, and they always miss. It never lands. But Tecia landed one. And then right after that, she clinched her and dumped her, and it was just, man, it was a vicious round.
I mean, clearly there's levels.
Yeah.
Clearly there's levels to this, and like you said, props to Sam Hughes for taking this fight. But
great for her coaches, too. I really liked. Did you hear that? The whole exchange in between rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. In rounds, end of the fight.
Very, very protective. Very protective, and I respect that.
Well, he looked at her eyes.
That's a topic we've covered before.
Yeah, and he was like, "Can you see?" And she's like, "No." And then he's like, "That's it." He's like, "I want to end this fight." And then you could tell the other coach who wasn't in the cage was like, "Wait, what's going on?" And he turned around. He's like, "Dude, look at her eye. She can't see." And then she was like, "No, I want to fight." And he was like, "You want to fight? Okay." And then was walking out. And then the doctor was like, "Wait, what? What'd you say?"
Yeah, I heard the fight is over. What's going on over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when they zoomed in on her eye too, it kind of looked like a bloodshot. Not just the white part, right? The entire eye looked kind of bloodshot.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on there. I don't know if I haven't seen anybody say anything about what was going on,
Yeah, and again, I was trying to look at all those replays to see, because usually the UFC is able to find an eye poke. If there's any type of concern about it, the production team's always really good at that. But all I saw was that right Superman punch that landed right in that bottom piece of the orbital that I figured is what made her think that she got eye poked. But at that point in time, right when she got punched, like you said, she didn't complain about it.
Yeah, I never once saw a complaint. And Tecia does a good job. I don't think Tecia, she's not. I think because of her size, she's 5'1". It's usually the longer fighters who play the whole this game and keep you at distance, the rangefinder, stuff like that. Tecia knows she has to barrel in, so when she comes in close, she's full fists. You know what I mean? She's not reaching and trying to grab or anything like that. I've never seen her do anything like that. So, but it was a great performance by Tecia. She looked great.
And she's calling for an opponent that's ranked higher than she is.
Yeah.
So when we
she would have had in
Tecia Torres.
She would have had in that matchup with Angela Hill. Honestly, I mean, why not just do that fight? Once Angela, I don't know how Angela Hill's reacting with COVID, but it's a great fight.
Yeah. So, I mean, taking a look at it, we have Amanda Ribas. Michelle Watterson would be fun. I think they've already fought before, right?
Yeah.
Claudia Gadelia, Nina Ansaroff. There's some fun fights in there for her.
Yeah, I love that division. It's one of my favorite divisions.
Yeah, I think Nina Ansaroff and her and Raquel are pretty good friends, right? Along with
well, yeah. I mean, she's married to Raquel.
Yeah, so they're all really good friends. I don't know how that would work out, but
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Because Amanda Nunes and Raquel Pennington, I know, were pretty close friends too.
Mm-hmm.
And Nunes had no problem knocking her into the next galaxy a few times. So.
I know.
Dude, it's a fight game.
It's the battle of the spouses.
Oh, dude, 2-on-2 tag team.
Yeah.
All right, so, dude, Billy the Kid, Quarantillo versus Gavin Tucker. We were both off on this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin Tucker showed massive improvement coming into this one.
Sure did.
Massive improvement.
Sure did. Quarantillo's right hook kept on finding a home, but then Tucker's leg kicks, he just kept on chopping away.
Leg kicks
chopping away.
And the
body
hooks to the
shots.
body. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They fought this fight basically forehead to forehead the whole fight. It was so gnarly. It was a dirty fight.
Yeah, and I feel like Tucker, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was probably like around the end of the first round where you start seeing the momentum shift towards Tucker, and I feel like it just never went away after that.
Yeah,
Tucker
you're
had
right.
the momentum the rest of the way.
Once he landed that high kick towards the end of the round, it was like, oh, the tide's turning, and you're right, it never went back. I think usually with Billy's style, he's pretty aggressive and he just keeps coming at you and throwing, and you're kind of on your back foot, and he's just kind of picking you apart at range as he's pushing you up against the cage, and you get no time to breathe. And then Gavin Tucker just came in and just stood his ground and just met him in the middle and didn't let him back him up. And then just great game plan. You know what I mean? Gavin Tucker really looked good. The best he's ever looked.
Billy the Kid showed he's very durable too.
Yeah.
Because he was taking some big shots, high volume. And I figured maybe around the third round, because you saw him slowing down significantly.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe in the third round with the volume that Tucker's landing, we might see Billy crumble a little bit. But, man, he hung in there.
Yeah, no, he looked great.
All 3 rounds.
I mean, it was one of those fights
that
where
was a unanimous.
He didn't get, like, outclassed.
30-27.
30-27. Unanimous.
Right, unanimous.
But he was still in there. He was still landing big shots. It's just everything he was landing didn't seem like it was phasing Tucker at all. You know, like he just... But it's not like he just got the shit beat out of him, you know? It wasn't just like... I don't know. It's not like he was getting rocked and dropped and all that kind of stuff, you know? But I really do want to see... I would love to see Gavin Tucker get a ranked opponent. But... Like, tell me you don't want to see Gavin Tucker fight number 12 and Shane Burgos. That fight would be so fucking fun.
Yep. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
And man,
some fun fights
with Billy, because he had been, on a bit of a tear 2020. So just a small setback for him.
Yeah.
And that the one thing too I want to say, that headbutt. In the third round, right, and the referee even points it out, and you see, like, just a welt start.
Like right away.
Hematoma, like right under the left eye, yeah.
Yeah.
And he pointed out too right after the headbutt. He was like, "Ugh, dude, like what the."
That's just kind of one of those things. The price you pay when you're fighting in a phone booth like that, and you keep meeting in the middle, and nobody wants to take a step back. It's gonna happen. But
it was a fun fight though.
Yeah, Gavin Tucker, he looked I was really impressed. He kind of shocked me in this one, to be honest.
The next one. Fiziev versus Moicano. This is one I told you, like, this was one of my favorite dogs going in Moicano.
Yeah.
And, for me, it was like both fighters were landing, but it was just Fiziev's shots were just so much stronger.
He hits
so much stronger.
I think
more precise.
Yeah, I think his precision was very precise.
His precision is very precise. I like that.
That's an old school Mike Goldberg quote. This guy's gonna be. This division's so stacked. This was an unranked fight. Neither of these guys were ranked. Moicano's great. I don't know what weight class Moicano should be fighting in, to be honest. Because, man, you can just tell the difference in power, like you said, in all the shots. And Moicano he was snapping his head back with the 1-2. His 1-2 is so good, man. From Moicano, his jab is so quick.
I put a note in that, man. His jab and then the straight right is just money.
Yeah, really good.
Money.
And if you're landing that kind of stuff on Fiziev, it's great because Fiziev's striking awareness is so high, and you could see his experience. He's young in this sport, right? But you could see his experience in when they met in the center and he caught that kick and he just dumps him real quick, that Thai style dump where, dude, you do that in a Thai fight, you be ready for someone to come at you because in a Thai fight that's pretty disrespectful. That's like me saying you're not even in my league if you dump someone like that. Didn't try to follow up on the ground. It was just a dump and then get right back up and we're going to keep doing this. And that combo that he landed to put him away was nasty. Super nasty. What did you think about the stoppage in this one?
I thought it was a little early.
It was a little early.
When he gets him in guard, and it seemed like he was still, intelligently defending himself. Mm-hmm. And I would have liked them to give him a little bit more time to see if Moicano was going to be able to recover while on his back.
1 minute left.
Granted, I do believe he was on autopilot.
100%
But autopilot or not, he was intelligently defending himself.
Exactly. And I saw people saying, dude, how could it be an early stoppage when they separated him and he tried to get up, he couldn't even stand up. And it's like, so we're just going to call fights anytime someone gets wobbly legs? Like, just because he was wobbly doesn't mean he was in another dimension.
That's not the name of the game.
Yeah.
I could see that in boxing. Mm-hmm. When the ref's telling him, hey, walk towards me. And there's nothing. Are you okay? And they wave it off. Mm-hmm. In this case, where it's mixed martial arts and the gentleman has an opportunity to be on his back and still be able to defend himself and in some cases be offensive, give the guy an opportunity. He takes a couple big shots on the ground. His eyes start rolling back a little bit. Then you call it.
Exactly. But yeah,
and it's easy for me to say, I guess, guard on this end.
Yeah. But yeah, he got his guard. He had an overhook on his arm, I think. He might have been, like you said, on autopilot and just on pure instincts, but that's fine. That's fine. And maybe it's just because the sport is kind of heading in the direction of quicker stoppages. There's much more outcry now because there's so many more fans.
Not if Tainoni is a ref.
But I mean,
the one thing I saw as well was when he was on his back.
This was Tainoni, by the way.
Getting him in guard. Oh, dude, that was surprising.
Yeah.
Actually, because I pointed that out to my friend over here, Chris, that was watching the fights. I was like, dude, he usually gives him an opportunity. I wonder if he's had some conversations.
Yeah, maybe, because I thought he was. He was intelligently defending. He pulled him into his guard, and you look at fights like Pat Barry versus Chet Congo, which I think if that happened on this card, I'm sure Pat Barry would be walking away with a knockout win.
Yep.
And it sucks because you get moments like that, and just because someone looks like, it's tough. I think this was soon. Do I think that the outcome would have been any different if they didn't stop it? No. I think Fiziev was still going to win by TKO or knockout. It just sucks.
Yeah, it was clear that his equilibrium was off.
Definitely.
It was clear. But the thing that I also think about is when Tainoni did stop it, and he was on his back, one of the very first things he did was look at Tainoni and say, like,
yeah,
dude, early stoppage, man.
Right away, yeah.
And I've seen some fighters where when they are getting stopped and they complain, they're not making direct eye contact with the ref. They're kind of still looking around.
They're single leg on the ref.
What's going on? Yeah. So a little early for me.
Yeah. Dude, so what's next for Fiziev? Because this guy needs to be ranked. He's so good.
Shit, man.
I'm saying Ally Quinta.
155. That'd be a fun fight.
Because Drew Dober's booked. Almost booked, right? He's going to fight Islam Makhachev, most likely. Gregor Gillespie is too busy fishing. I don't know what he's doing. Beneil Dariush would be a great fight, but I think...
It would. I was just looking at that right now.
But I think Dariush deserves someone higher up right now.
When's Kevin Lee back?
Didn't Kevin Lee have surgery?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder how long he's out.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a fun fight, too.
That'd be another tough fight for Lee, though.
Yeah.
Another really tough fight for Lee.
That's being that's just being ranked in the lightweight division. Every fight's gonna be tough, you know.
You're right.
I think
right.
Al Quinta or even Diego Ferreira would be great. Because, dude, he's got to get in there. And then if he gets through one of them, someone like Dan Hooker or Paul Felder would be such a fun fight.
Ooh.
You know?
Ooh.
He's not quite... I don't think he should jump that far yet. I don't think he deserves to jump that far. But eventually he's going to. You know?
Yeah, depending on when Lee's back, I'd like to see Kevin Lee versus Fiziev.
That'd be
if
fun.
Not, I like the Iaquinta idea. All right, anything else on that fight?
No, just a big Fiziev fan.
Next one here, a couple of crafty veterans, man, in Daniel Pineda versus Cub Swanson.
Dude, this was the one that I was very surprised with the odds on this one. I don't know if I mentioned it in our video that we did, or if it was after when we
talked about it after.
Yeah,
we talked about it after because we were talking about the dogs and the parlay that I was setting out, which I lost again.
Because I was like, I'm surprised Pineda. I know he dismantled Herbert Burns. But I was like, I don't know what that really means in the grand scheme of things against someone like Cub Swanson. And I know the biggest question mark, Cub Swanson's older, his knee. Let me see really quick. Yeah, this is my story of the fight. This fight. Because Cub Swanson, I'm sentimental about Pride and WEC and all those guys who are still doing the thing. Man, Cub Swanson's 37 years old, dude, in a division where speed is your number one asset. And the fact that he tore his ACL in that quintet tournament, I remember when that got posted, we even talked about it. A lot of people, including myself, were like, 37 years old, torn ACL. No. That's tough to come back from. And I think that probably had a big play with the odds makers in this fight because it was crazy. I mean, plus 345 or something like that, underdog coming into this against Daniel Pineda. I didn't see anything from Daniel Pineda that made me think he was going to be that much of a favorite. I think it was all pretty much the question mark of what Cub Swanson's going to show up. And at the start of the fight,
Cub Swanson,
he's such a
one of those
dude.
Gritty fighters.
Yeah,
he is gritty fighter, and same thing, sentimental with Cub Swanson. When you take a look at his history, I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to dig into it. His dad dies at the age of 3. Mom gets into drugs. He gets adopted by his dad's cousin.
Yeah,
he's in gangs. Drugs, gangs, and here he is, man.
Dude, and
27. 37. And 11.
Oh, I thought
professional.
I thought you were saying age.
No, 27 and 11 in his professional career, and a fan favorite in the UFC.
I mean, he's got fights. He's got fights in that are in the Hall of Fame. That Do Hu Choi fight was.
Oh my God, Super Boy Choi.
Yeah,
and then the Crone Gracie fight.
Yeah, Crone Gracie.
Another insane fight.
I mean, he's just.
I love Cub Swanson, man.
Yeah,
I love him.
His striking style, everything about him. And when the fight started, I was like, God damn, how much bigger? How is this the same weight class? Pineda looked massive compared to him. And Cub even said at the end in the post-fight interview that he was doing so much rehab on his legs that he lost a lot of muscle mass. He's like, this is the thinnest I've ever been in a fight, which is crazy. And it looked early on like Pineda was just going to bully him with big shots. Those leg kicks that he was landing, you could tell he was targeting the legs, landing big shots. And Cub was just taking them, but physically reacting to everything Pineda was landing on him. But towards the middle of that first round, I was noticing that Pineda, because he had success, I think, he fell in love with it and he wasn't setting anything up with feints, wasn't setting anything up with combos. It was just one big leg kick. One big leg kick, one big overhand right, and they were landing, but he wasn't mixing anything up. No threat of a takedown, no feints, no jab, just big shots one by one, and you could see that Cub was starting to recognize the patterns, and he was timing off the leg kick. He was timing that overhand right off the leg kick. He was landing his angles. He's still so good at darting in and out. he's not in punching range, and then all of a sudden he's punching in the face, and then he's back out of punching range. He's got a very specific style, and I thought he could have probably finished it at the end of the first round, once he rocked Pineda. But I think his like veteran status and his mindset, he knew, I'm good. I can pick my shots here. I don't have to be going crazy, and because Pineda has the power. He was moving him with every shot Pineda was landing. So he just kind of picked his shots. Round ended, came out in the second with just knowing that confidence. Everything he was throwing was landing, similar to like Tecia Torres earlier. And Pineda I think after that first round, I think he was just gone. I don't think he even knew where he was.
I put that down. After first round, Pineda never recovered.
Because he would get hit with a shot and just like kind of turn and like start walking, and he just wasn't he wasn't like in a fight. He was just, I think he was somewhere else. And respect
never
for
recovered,
him.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was not an early stoppage. That one, that was a good stoppage. That combo that dropped him was beautiful. It was like textbook Cub Swanson. It looked so good. And dude, I'll be honest, dude, when he was when they were like celebrating and stuff, you could see him hugging his coaches, and he was crying, Cub Swanson. And it's like, man, to see someone who like visually has such a tough exterior look, like the guy looks mean, he's got those eyebrows that like are like angled down, you know what I mean? Like he just looks mean. And to see him like just like overcome with emotion, you could see after the knockout the scream that he had, and then sobbing when he's hugging his coaches. And then the interview with Joe, dude, was one of those wholesome MMA moments where he's talking about how he wants to be a superhero for his kids, and just, man, and he starts he's about to cry in the interview, and man, it was just good times.
Yep.
You hate
good role model, not just for his kids, man. Not just for his kids, but he's somebody that a lot of people could look up to. Again, going through tough times, and to be where he is now, I think he's just one of those examples where like a lot of people have a choice, and this was Cub's choice to get out of all that stuff that he was involved in, and now again, family man, 27-11, and a fan favorite for a lot of people.
Dude, I'll never miss a Cub Swanson fight. I mean, that guy, fucking awesome,
Yep.
Great stuff.
All right, so let's go to Ciryl Gane. And again, different pronunciations throughout the fight from different people. So I was getting uber frustrated, and I was like, we just got to pick one, right, guys?
Yeah.
Just got to pick one. From Bruce Buffer to Anik to Rogan, everybody has a different
They were even pronouncing Ciryl differently. How are they saying? Anik was saying...
It sounded like zero when some people were saying it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on here? But anyways, this fight, man.
Yeah.
I think, again, I called TKO on JDS. This is JDS's fourth loss in a row, all by stoppage. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him getting cut here this next week.
I would be very surprised if he didn't. If I was the UFC, I'd be cutting GDS. And it sucks to say that because I love him. But also shout out to OUA Hater on our YouTube comment section on our picks. Said the odds are just disrespectful to Junior Dos Santos. I think JDS takes out Gane tonight. JDS will shock the world for all you non-believers. Hashtag JDS Sagana will win.
Hey, I love his confidence, though. I loved his confidence. When I read that, I was like, dude, I don't agree, but I respect your confidence.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, it is a winnable fight for JDS. JDS still has the offensive skill set to win any fight in heavyweight. But I just thought that going into this...
His chin's not there anymore, though.
Exactly. He can still trade...
It's just his chin.
He actually landed some big shots on Gane.
He did.
But yeah, Gane's just... His style, dude, a heavyweight Thai style, that bouncing light footwork, that's rare with a man that size. And he
looked like a light heavyweight out there, man.
Dude,
his movement.
And he has like angles, and he throws like weird shots from different angles. And he just is attacking every part of your body to where you just can't even get anything off. He had great feints for a heavyweight, great patience, controversy in this fight. Unfortunately, I disagree with all the controversy.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it wasn't the back of the head. The actual rules say you take a thin mohawk, and that's back of the head. Anything off of that thin mohawk, not back of the head. It was like a 3/4 type thing behind the ear that landed. And when you are turning away, that's the price you pay. When Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder the second time, and he dropped him with that one shot, Wilder was complaining that he hit him in the back of the head. Dude, you're turning your head. You're turning. If I'm throwing a punch at you and you spin around real quick and I hit you in the back of the head, that's on you. You know what I mean?
It was surprising to see JDS react the way that he did at the end too.
Yeah.
But I think he also knows this is his 4th loss in a row by stoppage.
Yeah.
So he might be trying to make a claim right away as to why he should stick around.
I also don't want to completely throw out the notion that the dude was dropped 5 seconds before that with a hard shot, and that he might not be in the clearest mindset during all that.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the commentary team kind of, I don't know, they were kind of throwing JDS under the bus for his complaints, and not one of them mentioned the fact, hey, let's take what he's saying with a grain of salt. He just got dropped with a big shot. Maybe he's not all there yet, and let's just, I mean...
Very much like Alistair Overeem.
Yeah, I thought he tapped. I felt the tap.
Yeah.
But, man, Ciryl Gane, it just shows you that this guy would be much higher already in the rankings and in the probably the top 3 mix, in my opinion, if he could just get fucking fights to come through, because, dude, this guy is the future of the division, in my opinion.
He's fantastic, man. He looks the part. Mm-hmm. I think even Joe Rogan was saying he's an amazing specimen of a man.
Yeah, dude.
You know, he reminds me like of an Anthony Joshua.
Dude, he looks like Anthony Joshua mixed with Bob Sapp.
Yes.
Dude, and he has so much composure in that post-fight interview and humility for when they showed the replay, and he was like, ooh, maybe.
He's like, maybe.
Yeah.
I love that.
Dude, so much humility, so much respect. Ciryl Gane, dude. Obviously, I've been talking about him for way too long. Finally, he gets a high-profile fight, but you love to see it. And you hate to see Junior Dos Santos get knocked out again.
Give me an Overeem versus Gane. I want to see that.
I would love to see it.
Who do you want to see?
I would love to see that.
Rozenstruik?
Rozenstruik is my pick. Because I think Overeem needs to fight Rozenstruik. I would love to see the Rozenstruik fight, but I think Overeem needs that fight should happen. I would love to see him fight Volkov, at that point, he's pretty much, he could potentially be one fight away from a title shot if we just start moving with this division and having Stipe be active. I don't know what's going on right now.
Man, talk about a division that's being held up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
it's just... there's so many fun fights to make there when you're looking at the top 10.
Yeah, and then John Jones is supposedly going to make his debut. You know he's going to fight someone in the top 5 or go for the belt right away. So I don't know what the fuck is happening right now. But they need to stop holding my boy Gane back.
Ciryl Gane, and then... Man, I just think that's such a fun matchup of Overeem versus Gane.
Dude.
Or Rozenstruik, either one.
Or Derek Lewis, or Volkov. And then,
but his striking IQ is fantastic.
Yeah,
man.
The biggest moneymaker
fantastic striking IQ
is Gane versus Ngannou. That's going to be massive when that fight happens, and it's going to happen.
And if you're the UFC, do you want to wait to see if Ngannou wins the belt?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Ngannou's not going to fight anybody other than the champion next. There's no way that Ngannou has. Who's he going to fight again? Curtis Blaydes? Rozenstruik? All these guys he's starched. If Derek Lewis... What's Derek Lewis going on? Is he fighting? Is that fight going to get rebooked? Him and Curtis Blaydes?
I think it is.
Yeah, if Derek Lewis gets past Curtis Blaydes, now we have 2 people in line for a title shot, and they shouldn't have to fight each other.
Again, division being held up.
Yeah,
and I love Stipe.
I love him too. I just don't know what's going on.
We've both gone on and said that we love Stipe, but this is just...
I don't think it's fully on Stipe. I think it's the UFC. And Ngannou is expressing a ton of frustration towards the UFC, not about Stipe. I haven't seen him say anything about Stipe. It's all about the UFC.
That's a good point.
I think the UFC, Stipe, and John Jones are all in negotiations. and they're putting Ngannou kind of on the back burner. I think they're just trying to still figure out what's going to happen with John Jones. I think what I would do if I were the UFC is you book Ngannou versus Stipe now, and then you just have John fight the winner of them. If you want John to fight for the belt, then you have him fight the winner. He shouldn't get to skip Ngannou, in my opinion.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited.
I mean,
for
Ngannou with his the tear he's been on again since his last loss to Stipe is just insane. So he's definitely earned that shot.
What else does he have to do? You know, he shouldn't have to take another fight. I see his frustration. You know,
I see his frustration for sure. But man, Ciryl Gane. I'm excited to see him fight again. Mm-hmm. The next fight, your boy, Kevin Holland. Fuck.
This fight was insane.
What a fight!
Absolutely insane.
The way he comes out dancing,
I know.
And he sees Jacare
dancing,
start dancing with him, and I'm just like, oh, this is so much fun,
dude,
man. And you see them kind of both smiling at each other.
It's the best.
Enjoying
sport.
What they do.
It's the best sport.
Yeah, enjoying what they do. They're about to try to knock each other's heads off, but they're having fun going in, and fuck, coming out party for Holland. We've been high on Holland for the longest time already.
Yeah,
for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of casual fans, coming out party.
In my opinion, fighter of the year, Kevin Holland, fighter of the year.
5 fights, 2020.
5 fights,
right?
5-0, third person,
5 wins,
third person to ever have 5 wins in a year, and did it all during a pandemic.
And he wants to fight again in a week.
Yeah, and
what he said.
Yeah, I mean he didn't even.
He's fucking crazy. He's fucking crazy.
Jacare, I thought, to win this fight, he needs to be aggressive with his takedown. And when he came out, he was very aggressive, and he got it. And when Holland threw up that triangle, I was like, it's not going to happen. But the fact that he even got that far into a setup against Jacare is very impressive. Jacare shrugged it off, right? He was like, kind of probably just laughed at him. He was like, all right, dude, yeah, you think you're going to get me with that? And then they were talking to each other, and man, Kevin Holland is one of those fighters that will, with his trash talk, because the Diaz brothers, their trash talk invites the brawl where they're going to slip and rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Holland's trash talk is going to take your guard off. You're going to be... He almost talks it into like a sparring match. You know what I mean? Like he's talking, he's like, I had a dream about this. And Jacare laughs while he's in his guard. And he's like, this is awesome. And he's laughing. They're both chuckling in a fight. But I think the difference is Jacare.
He lays that fucking haymaker.
Yeah, I think the difference is Jacare in those moments when he's talking and making him laugh and stuff, he's getting pulled out of the fight a little bit. Where Holland...
Very much like Buckley, where he told him, wipe that booger off. And then he's like, thanks, pop. Man. Pop.
Yeah. But because while he's taking you out of the fight with almost like it's like a disarming trash talk, right? Because it's not really...
You get comfortable.
Yeah, you get comfortable. And you're like, yeah, we're both in here doing the same thing. This is cool, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Holland's still laser focused. His mouth is saying shit. I doubt he even realizes like fully what he's saying in that moment. I'm sure that's just part of his expression while he's fighting. You know what I mean? And yeah, to land those punches off of his back as he's getting up, not just off his back, but as he's getting up, it went from a playful, fun kind of fight going on to all of a sudden one of the most vicious knockouts, because the way that Jacare fell back onto his ankles and was kind of on his knees, and you can't lay flat like that, right? And Holland's holding him from the collarbone with his left hand and just standing over him and just punching him. It was like a movie scene. It looked like a beatdown from a movie, not an actual fight.
And if terrifying. You see, like those last shots were nasty, but that first one where he's still kind of on his ass and he just loads up, and it lands like right above the forehead, and you see right at that point he lets go of the ankle, and then it's game over.
Yeah, and you could see that Holland had his leg up and swung his leg down to pull his upper body up, and he used that momentum with the punch. And it was... Man,
I've never seen anything like that.
Never seen anything like it. And how about when he did throw up the triangle? I was like, he's not going to get this triangle. But then he started landing those elbows, and I was like, oh, shit. This is... Like, dude, Holland is dangerous off of his back. Very dangerous. And he's only going to become more dangerous. It's by far his
extremely active.
It's by far his weakest aspect of his game. But you were seeing that it's not even that weak. It's when I say it's his weakest part of the game, I don't mean that he's useless off his back. I just mean compared to his striking and his distance control and all that kind of stuff, it's definitely not as top tier as his striking. But man, he's dangerous off of his back, and in that division, I mean, this is like you said, a coming out party. He's about to get thrown into the mix in this division with the win over. I know Jacare wasn't ranked, but he would have been if he didn't just fight at 205.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a look at the rankings right now, he's 15 now.
Yeah.
So they broke him into the top 15, and a lot of fun fights for him, man. A lot of fun fights.
Every single one of those. Every single one.
And you think, what does he want to do? You know, does he want to continue, you know, killing a couple of these, I wouldn't call, you know, Weidman a legend, but, you know, some of these veterans and continue building up his name. UFC continues building up his name with these known fighters.
Wait, did you just say you wouldn't consider Weidman a legend?
Dude, I know you love Weidman.
That just like registered.
I know you love
me.
Weidman.
The guy that dethroned Anderson.
It took you a while.
The guy that changed the course of Anderson's career. The maybe scariest man in the history of the sport. The guy who
some
changed
of it might have been
directory.
the timing.
Doesn't matter if it was
some of it might have been the timing.
Going into that fight, nobody thought it was Anderson's like last hurrah or anything like that. Anderson was still the scariest man in the sport by the time Weidman got to him. You look at him post Weidman.
Yeah, I get it.
Weidman's a legend.
I get why you love him.
Weidman's
I wouldn't call him a legend. I wouldn't call him a legend. But again, he's known. He's a known fighter.
Yeah.
So you put Holland up against
He's booked
Weidman.
against Hall, though. Weidman and Hall is booked now. I say...
So, Brad Tavares?
I say Brad Tavares, Akhmedov, or Edmund Shabazian. Those are the fights. Yeah. Because you don't jump up to Jack... Even though he was slated to fight Jack Hermanson, I don't think he jumps that high. Maybe even Derek Brunson, to be honest. Who did Gaslam? Kelvin just got booked against somebody, right?
I don't remember.
I think they just announced that he's booked for somebody, and it is Ian Heinisch. That's an interesting fight for Gaslam. Yeah. But I feel like he might have to jump Brad Tavares, Akhmedov. I would say Shabazian, Derek Brunson. Those are the two I'd be looking at.
Derek Brunson would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Derek Brunson would be so much fun.
Yeah.
And he did call off Khamzat.
He did. It's not going to happen. But Khamzat...
Why not? They want to save it.
Because Khamzat talks like he's proven it, right? He's anytime, anywhere, anybody. It doesn't matter how quick the fight, how short notice. Until they dangle, what is he? Number 3, Leon Edwards in front of him. All that other stuff goes out the window. There's no way he's risking that shot.
Let's say he smashes a Leon Edwards. He's in for a title shot.
Yeah, he's past this now. He's past this game. He's no longer going to be taking these short notice fights because the people who are willing to take those fights aren't the people that he needs to be fighting at that point. It's not going to happen. Great call out by Holland, though.
Holland?
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. All right. Next one. Mm-hmm. Mackenzie Dern versus Virna Jandiroba.
Remember when we were talking about this fight and I was like, I think we're probably going to see their grappling cancel each other out and two people with not a ton of striking defense are going to go out there and slug it out? Called that shit.
That's exactly what happened.
Called that shit.
That's exactly what happened. Jandiroba was willing to trade with Mackenzie Dern. And Mackenzie Dern, again, since going to Perillo, looks so much better than Mackenzie Dern from a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. Still has some work to do.
She looks in shape.
Yeah,
still has some work to do. But she's in shape. She's coming in, I feel like, mentally prepared. Mm-hmm. There was a part of the fight, though, when she got kneed on the nose. And she goes back to when she's against the cage a couple times, when she's waiting
she grabs
for
her nose.
She pulls down on it. Yeah. And then she sits down, and right away she's like, "Is my nose broken?"
This is that moment,
and I was like, "Ooh!"
This is the moment that I always talk to you about with these people who are up and coming that are very highly touted as.
How do they respond?
How do they respond to getting tested? And when she grabbed her nose, I was like, oh no, she just pulled herself out of the fight mentally. She recognized that it was broken, and this might be the beginning of the end, and this might be her. This is her moment, right? How is she going to deal with the adversity? And then, man, fantastic.
I love Ciryl. He's like,
fantastic.
It's fine.
Yeah. She asked about the nose. He's like, don't worry about the nose. The nose is fine. It's great. The nose is great. It's like, it's not great, but man, great corner work, and it shows that she is 100% in the right camp, because not only did her coach deal with that in the best way possible, but she didn't go against what he said. In the post-fight interview, she said that she knew that he was lying to her, but it didn't matter. In that moment, she wasn't going to acknowledge the lie, and she was going to take his word for it. And that's how you know you found a coach that you fully trust in, that you guys are matched. They're matched.
And I love how she was like, when they asked her about pulling her nose, because, again, I saw that and I was like, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. And she said that mentally, she was like, oh, this is what a broken nose feels like. I finally got to feel it. Yeah. It was going to happen sooner or later, but I finally got to feel it. And then when she's walking out in that third round, and DC's like, she knows her nose is broken. She's probably going to, hold back from striking now because she doesn't want to get hit there. And right when he said that, she throws a 2-punch combo, and Jandiroba responds and hits her on the face again. He goes, maybe not.
Yeah, yeah.
And, again, I love the way that she responded.
She pulled it out in that third round. She really did. And it started looking like the beginning of the round was maybe, because we're still waiting to see how she deals with this test. She started landing that body kick. As Jandiroba was coming in, she was landing that body kick really, really well. I think she also could have got the finish on her feet. She ended up going for that takedown, but I think she had her...
She stunned her a few times.
Yeah, and then she went for the takedown.
She stunned her a few times.
But also, I just need to give another shout-out. I've been saying it for a long time, but Herzog is by far the best ref potentially that the UFC has ever had. Dude, seeing him and being able to hear him... That's
saying something, man.
Seeing him...
That's saying something.
Yeah, man. Being able to hear him after that eye poke, how, calming he is and, disarming and just talking about, no, we got time. And then she asked for, water from her corner, and he goes and gets a rag with water on it, gives it to her to, mess with, because he's not going to be the one doing it, right, when she has her eye irritated. Her coach comes over, and he's doing a great job making sure he's not cornering him.
No advice.
Yeah. Dude, just very calm, cool, collected, dealing with it in such a professional manner. Gave her the time she needed. It was fantastic reffing. The fact that it was at the Apex, too, that we got to hear all that was so cool. Herzog's the best. He's the best.
Yeah, you have definitely had a hard-on for Herzog for some time already.
Can't help it, man. Can't help it.
Can't help it. But no, he is money, though.
This was also, for Mackenzie Dern, even if we disregard the broken nose, because that's a big test, right? It's just a big test. And especially when you look like that, let's be honest. People aren't going to assume that you're going to be willing to go through with something like that. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't think that that's something that plays into a factor. We've seen it time and time again, like Paige Van Zandt being tough as nails. It just doesn't matter. It's not something that actually matters. But I think she proved to a lot of people that she's not just in here with looks. You know what I know?
She's here for the right reasons.
Yeah, 100%. The second test...
If she's in the fight game, she's doing it for the right reasons.
The second test, even if she didn't have the broken nose, the second test is she won the first round. Jandiroba won the second round. How is she going to turn the tide back? Because usually, if you lose the first round, or if you win the first round and then you lose the second round, that momentum is hard to swing back your way in the third. But man, she turned it into a dogfight in that third round and really, really took it to her. And I'm glad. I was really worried that the judges weren't going to see this correctly, and I think they nailed it. I think all three judges gave it 29-28 for Mackenzie, and I thought it was perfect.
Jandiroba looked good too.
She did.
Well, I wouldn't say great, but she, the fact that again she was standing and trading. I didn't expect her to look as good as she did against Dern, but then again, we haven't had to see her in the UFC so far.
Yeah.
Doing that, so
she looked decent.
So who's next for Dern? Who's next for Dern now?
Amanda Hebus would be great. I don't think you give her... She's getting... The bad thing is... Not the bad thing. We'll see. The hard thing is that she's getting to a point where she's going to start fighting people who have fought for the belt. in a very competitive division. One of the most competitive division, definitely the most competitive female division. She's still, I think, slightly removed from the Rose Namajunas, the Zhang Wei Li, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Yan Xiaonan, even potentially Michelle Waterson, Gedalia might be too much for her still. Amanda Ribas would be good. It's all tough fights for her now.
It's one of those where, like, if we put her up against Michelle Waterson, for example, who's been striking her entire life, how comfortable is Dern going to feel going into that fight to where she's going to want to stand more? Or is she going to go back to her bread and butter and say, let me try to get this down to the ground and try to control the fight, from the ground?
What I'm worried about her, there's always been question marks with her, right? Because there's only one solid, definite truth to her is that her jiu-jitsu is absolutely world-class. Everything else is almost a question mark. Mentality, tenacity, striking IQ, fight IQ in general. Everything else has been question marks, and she's kind of just crossing questions off the list as she's been progressing. But the only thing that now, my real only question, because in my opinion, if she's sticking with Jason Perillo and she's taking it, I don't think she's not going to be taking it seriously anymore. I think she's solved all those issues. So I think there's not a doubt in my mind that every time we see her fight from now on, her striking is going to look better. What I am worried about is her thinking that she's Bangkok ready right now, and falling in love with striking too much. And
we've seen it happen before.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Before.
Yeah, it happens all the time. So I hope she's not. It's one of those things where you fall in love with new things and you forget what got you to the dance. If I'm Mackenzie Dern, every single fight, I'm trying to win every single fight with submission, and I'm using my newly acquired hands as a way to set up how I'm going to get you to the ground. If she can do that, dude, she could do big things, like really big things.
Yeah, I was looking at
she might have beaten
Ribas as well.
She might have just beaten the best, potentially the best jiu-jitsu counterpart in the division. The only other people are Ribas and maybe Claudia Gedalia. But let's be honest, I don't think they're anywhere near Mackenzie. I think everybody else in this division that's ahead of her, she could probably tap. It's fun.
Yeah, you mentioned Ribas. Ribas, by the way, the only loss that Mackenzie Dern has on her record. So she'll be trying to get that one back.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, man, this fight.
Yeah.
Shout out to George.
I know.
Shout out to George. Dog of the week.
We should just announce it now.
Dude, go for it.
Yeah, so I think from now on we're going to start doing pay-per-view pick videos where we probably just look at the main card just to keep it not over an hour and just make it easier to digest. But doing our main card picks, and then I think we're still trying to figure out the formula, but we're probably going to do our main card picks and then throw it over to a video of George with his dog of the week, basically, is probably what we're going to end up doing, where he picks an underdog or someone who he thinks is maybe a sleeper and being overlooked, and his explanation of why. Because time and time again, George is making these picks on these dark horse type guys. And yeah, he called this one.
Yep. So Charles Oliveira, what an absolute monster, man. And I think this is a perfect example of us having an opportunity to see somebody put it all together in their years in the UFC, and finally seeing them in their prime.
Yeah. I mean, everything's come together for him now. He's had ups and downs plenty in his career, but like you said, physically in his prime, definitely in the right weight class now. Takes advantage of every opportunity that comes to him as far as rankings, matchups, and just in the fight now. When I talked about how Tony is going to see these openings and take advantage of this fight, it was a complete opposite. Oliveira noticed what Tony felt like on the ground, saw that hole, and just completely took it to him. I mean, this was a masterclass from Oliveira.
Absolutely. And the one thing I didn't expect was to see him control Tony Ferguson the way that he did on the ground.
Yeah, this was the thing that I was talking about, how they're both so scrambly on the ground. And I said, you're not going to take either of these guys down and hold him in that position. And Oliveira was like, dude.
And he did.
Yeah, hold my acai. I'm coming out, and I'm going to take him down and hold him there. And when he got that armbar, and Tony's arm bent the wrong way, all I could think of in that moment is, in my prediction, I specifically mentioned the fact that Oliveira has never had a straight armbar win. And I was like, of course he's going to get it right now.
Check this one out.
And
check this one out.
If that was against anybody else, it would have been he would have got it. His arm has to be damaged from that. There's no way your arm can't bend that way.
I was just hoping it didn't snap on TV.
Yeah,
because I would have felt sick, because it already looked so bad. Mm-hmm. And you could see when he came out in the next round after that,
there was some
he kind of just held it in the same position.
Yeah.
Right?
He had like
there's some swelling around the elbow.
He had like a sling on it, basically.
Exactly. So, Tony Ferguson, just one of the toughest guys out there. And it just, second loss in a row for Ferguson. We're not used to hearing that. Both losses kind of lost in a dominant way.
Yeah.
By his opponent.
And going into this, right, that was what we talked about, was the biggest question of what is Tony coming out like? Is he diminished? Is he damaged and stuff like that? I don't think it's a question of his chin. He just looks slower and more hesitant. I don't know if it's a physical thing or if it's just a mental thing.
I'll ask you this right now, because I was gonna ask you for Will's wisdom, but in this case, is it more of Ferguson starting to fade, or is it more of Oliveira putting it all together?
Yeah, I think that unfortunately, I can't give just like a black and white answer. I think it's probably a little bit of both.
It's not how this game works, Will.
I know. I think Tony is starting to slowly decline. I still think he beats a lot of people in this division.
Oh yeah.
I just think Oliveira. I think it's a bit of both. You know, Oliveira. I think this Oliveira that showed up probably would have beaten 100% Tony, right? The Tony that we're used to seeing. I think Oliveira still probably takes this the way he came out. Yeah, it bums me out, man. Because Tony is,
for Tony Ferguson, you have Dan Hooker, Rafael dos Anjos, Paul Felder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun fights still in there for him, but you just wonder, if he's ever going to get another crack at that title. He might go on another epic run. We never know.
He's not going to. I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
That division is too dangerous, man. It's just, unfortunately, I think it's going to start to kind of pass him by. And I think, I mean, this officially 110% closes the door on any chance of ever seeing Tony versus Khabib. And at this point, with hindsight, right, with this fight, I don't think it would have been competitive.
Nope.
I think Khabib would have done what he does to everybody.
I think Khabib does what he does to everybody to everybody.
Yeah, I don't think anybody gives him problems in the division. That was like the one person who maybe is going to give him some problems. There's a chance. I still would have picked Khabib in that fight, right? But, yeah. I don't think so. I don't think Khabib is going to come back now.
The only person I think might be able to give Khabib some problems might be Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gane.
When I take a look at the lightweight, yeah, exactly. When I take a look at the lightweight division, it's just he clears it out.
Yeah, he clears it
again and again. All right.
But man, what a coming out party for Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira.
If Oliveira deserves the title shot after this.
DuBronx, Charles Oliveira, yes.
He's probably going to fight the winner of Conor versus Dustin. Unfortunately, I don't know what happens with Gaethje. I don't know if Chandler's going to fight Gaethje or what's going on with that. But Oliveira's next fight should be for the belt.
there's just so many fighters in that division where you could say they could fight for the belt next.
Yeah. But, I mean, let's go through it, though, because Gaethje shouldn't get an immediate title shot, in my opinion. He just did one. He just had one.
But let's say you put a Gaethje versus Chandler.
Which I think is the fight to make.
Right, and yep.
Because who else is Chandler going to fight? I mean, you know?
Let's go tournament style here, right? You got McGregor versus Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
Gaethje versus Chandler. Does the winner of Gaethje versus Chandler fight the winner of Poirier versus
not anymore.
McGregor?
I would have said yes, but not now.
Now you throw Oliveira in the mix.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
So
Oliveira, what he just did to Tony, yeah, I mean, he has to get that title shot.
So you go Oliveira versus the winner of Poirier McGregor. The winner of that then faces the winner of Justin Gaethje versus Chandler.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense. So
yeah.
Oh God, what a fun division!
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Freaking fun.
And then we have Fiziev rising through the ring.
And I can't tell you how excited I am for George's Dog of the Week or Dog of the Fight.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Like, whatever we decide to put it, he's going to be money.
Yeah.
All right, so Deiveson, Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. This is my story of the fight. I know.
Yeah, there's so much.
It's the main.
That's fine.
Main event. But for me, again, we have ourselves a dog in Brandon Moreno representing Mexican fighters.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this before where I said he's got that Mexican grit very much like an Eric Morales or Antonio Barrera. Mm-hmm. And they mentioned that yesterday. Joe Rogan mentioned it, and I was like, hell yeah, man, because that's exactly the Mexican heritage style fighting.
Dude, that style
that I was used to seeing growing up.
The elbows close and the hands up high and just doing this kind of peekaboo and then just drawing you in and slipping and ripping, dude. Remember when we talked about this?
Eating some shots, but responding right away.
Right away. His jab looked incredible. He was catching him coming in with his jab perfectly. And
mixing in those takedowns.
Very well.
At the right times.
Really, really well. Like, very high fight IQ from Moreno. And I remember when we talked about this in the picks episode, I picked Figueiredo. But remember, I was like, the odds on this should be much closer. I think Moreno, I don't think people really realized how good he was going into this. But I was like, dude, Moreno's got the style to really take it to Figueiredo. This could be a very interesting fight. I was even saying this was a good underdog to pick. I didn't pick him ultimately, right? But I did see this as being by far the toughest test for Figueiredo. Broke the record for the division's most significant strikes landed. I mean, this was.
What do you make of Figueiredo saying that he was sick the night before?
I believe it.
He was in the hospital till 2 a.m.
You could see after this fight that he looked absolutely relieved, like a weight off his shoulders.
Yeah, no, I believe it too. But I'm wondering how much of that, do we have to take into consideration when we see how close this fight was?
You do. You have to take it, yeah.
Even then, when we take a look at the fact that it was a majority draw, but there was also a point taken away from Figueiredo for that.
Yeah. How did you score
by Herzog?
At the end, I had 47-47.
Really?
Yeah.
I had, and again, dude, everybody keep in mind a little bias here with this Mexican fighter. I still had Moreno winning with the point taken away.
I had I had the only two acceptable answers for me, or 47-47 or 48-47 Moreno. That's how I had it.
Moreno.
Yeah. Because that second round with the point deduction, that's either a 9-9 or a 10-8 for Moreno. That was a close round, especially the second half of it. Made it very competitive. Because I had him winning. What did I have? I had him winning.
And Figueiredo, man, a good champion. How about going before he got kicked in the nuts?
Yeah.
I thought Moreno was winning that round. And then when he saw that point got detected, Figueiredo, when he saw that point get detected, he came back with a fury after that. So it made that round a lot closer.
Yeah. I had Figueiredo winning the first, Moreno winning the second.
Same.
Third with that point deduction was very close. Could go either way. And I
gave it to Moreno.
I gave it to Moreno. I scored it two ways. I scored it how I thought it was going, and then I scored it what the judges probably were thinking, or what I thought the judges were thinking. So I was like, I'll err on the side of caution and give that round to Figueiredo because it was close. Even though I do think that Moreno won that round. The fourth round, I gave to Moreno.
Same.
So I had, going into the fifth, my scorecard was, if Figueiredo wins this round, it's probably a draw. If Moreno wins it, he's taking this fight. And Figueiredo definitely did what he had to do. Kind of a slow round compared to the rest of the fight, but you could tell Moreno was completely compromised at that point. Interestingly enough, the judging, I think we got the result that probably should have happened. But the way we got to it is absolutely insane. Have you seen the scorecards?
No. Was it all over the place?
Dude. So Derek clearly scored it. First round Figgy, second round Figgy, which I thought was a very clear round for Moreno. Third round was a 9-9 for him because of the point deduction. He gave the fourth to Moreno, which I thought Moreno definitely won the fourth. And then he gave the fifth round to Figgy. So that's a 48-46. I disagree with that second round. I think Moreno definitely won that second round.
Yep.
And then we go to Sal D'Amato, who actually...
Which I was shocked.
Who actually, I think, scored it
Sal
correctly.
D'Amato.
10-9 for Figgy the first round. He gave the second round to Moreno. I thought that's both exactly how I scored it. 9-9 round for the third, which is...
Can understand
I'm okay with that.
Can understand it.
Fourth round to Moreno, fifth round to Figgy. Perfect. That's a great scorecard.
Yep.
And then...
Thank you, Sal D'Amato.
Yeah.
It only took a couple decades.
And that's one of the draws that leads to the majority draw, right? The third one is one of the worst scorecards I've seen recently. 10-9 first round for Figgy. Okay. 10-9 second round. Disagree hard on that. 9-9 third round. Okay. 10-9 for Moreno in the fourth, which I thought he clearly won. Then a 10-9 for Moreno in the fifth. Where Moreno really couldn't do anything that whole round. Ended up on his back at a certain point. He couldn't. His arm was fucked. He couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
How do you score that round for Moreno? Luckily, this led to the draw, which I think is a perfectly fine outcome for this fight. But if he scored that fifth round
But how do you give him that
correctly-
one and not give it to him, the second to him?
Yeah, and if he scored that fifth round correctly, which I can't even imagine how anybody could score that for Moreno, and that's who I was rooting for in this fight, if I'm being honest. And I still gave that round to Figueiredo. Clearly, I think it was one of the clearest rounds of the whole fight. If he gave that to Figgy, this would be a split decision win for Figueiredo.
Yep.
What the fuck was that guy watching? Again, it's okay because the outcome, but dude, what the fuck? How do you give that fifth round to Moreno?
Well, and that's my thing. How do you give that fifth round to Moreno, but not give the second round to Moreno?
Yeah.
When it was a lot clearer than I don't know.
I was surprised that two judges gave Figgy the second round. I thought that was a very clear round.
Just an amazing fight, man.
Yeah.
Entertaining. So, Mindy, because we were all tired again over here in Texas. the main event starts at about 12 at midnight. So we were all tired already. I was tired. I'd been up since 4 a.m. Mindy had been up since early. You know, the Havers had been up since early, and we're watching, and you could just see our energy levels just start going up by watching this fight.
Crazy.
It was so intense. It was so fun. And the crazy part, though, because, again, Mindy watches a lot of the fights with me just because they're on and I'm watching. But this morning, she's brushing her teeth, and she's like, that was a crazy fight last night.
Dude.
And I was like, yes, that's when you know that the fight was awesome.
Best fight in the history of the division, without a doubt. Nothing even comes close. Dude, it was crazy. I didn't like, also, by the way, after Figueiredo revealed that he was in the hospital till 2 a.m., which is insane, the fact that he fought that well, they kept talking about that. And they were talking about how he was probably severely diminished from doing the weight cut in back-to-back, right? 3 weeks between. Never once did they talk about the fact that Moreno did the same thing. He also did that weight cut back-to-back. He also did that. And how about the fact that he fought that 5th round in a war with one arm and didn't get finished by an assassin, you know,
and still threw that left.
Still threw it. I mean, this fight was incredible. It was incredible. This will go into the Hall of Fame.
Takes me to Will's wisdom, because that fight. The first question was, Dana White said that this was the best flyweight fight in UFC history. Mm-hmm. You know, and clearly you agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, what else even comes close? There's nothing. You know.
Yeah, and I try to.
Demetrius versus Cejudo 2.
I looked up
Demetrius versus Cejudo 2 was really good. Surprisingly, Demetrius versus Dodson, the first fight, was really good too. Very close fight. But nothing like this one. This one was just.
Yeah, I tried to do some research. I went back. I researched some of the flyweight championship fights, and I just couldn't find one, man.
Yeah.
You know, so with Figueiredo, I think this just proves the fact that we have ourselves a solid, scary champion, exciting champion that people are going to want to tune in to watch now in the flyweight division. And we got ourselves a dog in Moreno.
Yeah. Dude.
Rematch right away?
Yeah, 100%. 100% rematch right away.
Gotta be.
Yeah. Rematch right away. You throw Manel Cape against someone like Brandon Royval, maybe, in a number 1 contender fight in the meantime, just so that those can get lined up, right? Yeah.
Probably won't see another 3-week turnaround from these guys.
No.
My guess.
Hell no.
But
yeah,
they beat each other up, man.
We also need to figure out what did happen with Moreno's arm. You know.
That's true. Yeah, because you do see that like lump that started to develop under his forearm, and he says that it wasn't his forearm, it was his shoulder. So I wonder if it's just broken and it caused a sharp shooting pain all the way up his arm.
Could be. He was saying that because when you throw that jab super hard over and over and over again and you miss a few times, that snap in your shoulder on that miss, that can get bad. So it could also just be that, and it could have just been a hematoma on his forearm from when he was blocking high kicks. But it's going to be interesting to see, because it was definitely swollen.
Dude, what a fun interview afterwards too.
He
just seems so happy, and
yeah, I'm a huge Moreno fan. I always have been. Ever since the first time I watched him fight. He was on Tough 24, I think.
Yeah, and I think they were saying he was the last pick. Last pick in Tough.
But man, that guy's
gets cut from the UFC, comes back, and now gives us the best fight in the flyweight division's history.
Yeah.
Championship fight. It's just a great story.
Yeah, fantastic. It was fantastic. You know.
All right. So the next question here in Will's Wisdom. Darren Till and Vettori have verbally agreed to fight between themselves. This is, of course, like on social media.
Yeah.
Good next fight for both of them?
I think so. Because they're talking about doing Costa versus Robert Whittaker. Izzy is in the light heavyweight division for now. Cannonier is going to be out with his broken arm. Till versus Vettori is definitely the fight to make. You know?
Yep, dude, and how good though is Darren Till on social media?
I know.
Again, we talk about it over and over again. But that meme that he made of Vettori, I was like,
Sloth from the
that son of a bitch did it again.
Yeah,
he did it again.
The fact that Vettori was like, awesome, I'm waiting for a meme, and he's like, here you go, you ugly bastard, or something like that.
Fucking love him. And then last one here, Kevin Holland coming off the impressive win. We already talked about it. He's ranked 15th now. If you're in charge of the UFC rankings, Will, where do you rank Kevin Holland?
Probably anywhere from 8 through 10. If I'm being honest, 8 through 10. I think a win over Jacare. I don't think it puts you over Gastelum or Brunson, because Brunson just did his thing. Hermanson, I think, is still too high. But I think you put him above Uriah Hall, Chris Weidman, Ahmed. I mean, that's a big statement. It's a very big statement.
Yep.
Especially even just the win against Buckley. That continues to just look better and better on Holland's resume.
Because he made it look so easy.
Made it look very easy. And obviously Buckley's knocking out people right now, but they're not. I mean, Gane, I think, is legit, but it's not like he's knocking out
for sure
Darren Till, and you know what I mean. So, but I do think he jumps to maybe 9.
Okay.
Yeah, top 10.
I think that's fair.
I think top 10.
I think that's fair. So overall, what a card. It definitely delivered, man.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely delivered.
Yeah. If I had paid, I wouldn't have been upset.
And I did pay, and I wasn't upset.
What do you think? I mean, we have one card. Probably just one. I think it's one card left in the year.
Wonder Boy.
Yeah,
Wonder Boy versus Jeff Neal.
What do you think? Where does this fight stack up for you for fight of the year?
Gosh, shit. This is so hard because you always think about the most recent fight that you watched.
Recency bias is heavy. Yeah.
Recency bias is extremely heavy, but this has got to be up there, man. And like I think about it, was Zhang Weili and Joanna this year as well.
March.
This year's been so long.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
That was
man.
pre-COVID, so it feels like a year ago, but yeah.
I still feel like that has fight of the year for me.
That's still
I really do.
This is number 2 for me. Because it was, for me, I had Zhang Weili versus Joanna, and then Poirier versus Hooker was my number 2. What was it? Who did Shane Burgos fight? What the hell was that fight? Was it Emmett?
I don't remember. I barely remember what I did yesterday.
I think it was Emmett.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, Emmett versus Burgos was my 3rd on the list, just outside of Poirier Hooker. But then, this jumps everything other than Joanna versus Zhang Weili. I think it's number 2, and you could argue it's better, but I think people, like you said, it's so long ago. People are forgetting just how absolutely insane Zhang Weili versus Joanna was for full 5 minutes.
Fight was amazing.
5 rounds, I mean, and it's one of those fights where, like you said, with recency, if you go back and watch that to try to compare now, knowing the outcome, knowing what happened, it's probably harder to get excited about it while you're watching it, and you feel like this is just so much more exciting because it just happened. But man, if they were on the same card, and you watched them both at the same time live, I'm sure most people would give it to Weili versus Joanna.
Yeah, I think Joanna is still trying to get that hematoma down. That was on her forehead. That thing was massive.
Yeah.
So next week we have, like I said, Wonderboy Thompson versus Jeff Neal.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, whenever I see Jeff Neal now, I can't help but think of the story.
I know, dude.
that Frank Camacho told us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's a good fight. We have Jose Aldo versus George's boy.
Yeah.
Chito Vera.
Great fight.
That's going to be a really fun fight.
The next one's the most.
Pineda.
That's what I'm excited for the most, this fight. Chaos Williams versus Pineda.
I think the last time we saw Pineda starting to be more controlled in the octagon, and he looked really, really good. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if this is going to carry over.
I think Chaos Williams is going to bring the wild out of Pineda. He's going to...
Marlon Moraes.
Rob Font. That's a great fight.
Rob Font. That's another good one. Marcin Tybura. And okay, Hardy. So it's so hard for me to take Hardy seriously again as an MMA fighter, but I have to. I have to now, when we take a look at some of these names that they've been fighting, that he's been fighting, he's shown up, man. Mm-hmm. He's shown up. He's 7-2. And granted, they threw him a couple of warm-up fights, if you want to call them, or development fights.
Yeah.
Which is fine. One no contest in there from using the inhaler, I believe. Which is still something.
I don't think that got ruled a no contest.
Oh no, no, you're right. That's okay. The illegal. It
was the knee.
Was it illegal knees?
Yeah,
that's what it was. Illegal knees. But we'll see how he does against Tybura.
Yeah, dude.
Anthony Pettis is on this card as well.
Alex Moreno versus Pettis is a great fight, dude. Bilal Muhammad versus Diego Lima, really good. Yeah, it's a good fight card. Not as stacked as it was.
So another one to look forward to.
Still good.
Yeah, still good. Let's see here. Sterry Eubanks. Yeah, there's going to be some fun fights. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week as well.
Yeah, definitely. Do
you have anything else?
No, that's going to be it. That's a great card. Great final pay-per-view for the UFC.
Great final pay-per-view. Next pay-per-view coming up is going to be Dustin Poirier versus the notorious Conor McGregor. I'm pumped for that one too.
Yeah.
But for this week, that's all we got.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks for listening to Story of the Fight, everybody.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Story of the Fight. We really appreciate everybody's support. If you don't mind hitting the subscribe button, and when you do subscribe, make sure that you hit the notification button as well. That way you get notified whenever we upload anything new. Don't forget to hit the like button. It goes a long way for us. And leave some comments. We love interacting with everybody.
Yeah, and if you want to stay even more up to date, you can follow us at Story of the Fight on Instagram and Twitter. And you can email us at storyofthefight@gmail.com. Ask questions, give us feedback, critique us. We want to make this better, and input helps us do that.
Thanks for listening to Story of the Fight, everybody.